Does anything kind of
Against
struck?
Oregon?
Yeah.
Oregon. It was unbelievable effort defensively. There was an alertness that we had in that game, and just an edge defensively that we haven't had since we started conference play. And we got a lot of deflections, got a lot of hands on balls, but just the alertness and the energy defensively I thought was really good. And Oregon's a good team, but we stepped, our defense really is what Colorado defense is meant and supposed to be. And I don't know where it's been all the month of January, but it showed up on Saturday night. So I think that tells us that it's there, which I think we've known all along. But now the challenge is going to be there every night.
There were no statistical anomalies in that game as far as you guys were concerned. You didn't shoot 60%. You didn't have 56 rebounds.
No.
Was defense the?
It was the whole difference. I mean, because again, we weren't great from the free throw line in the second half. We weren't as bad maybe as we were against Oregon State, but we weren't great. Mm-hmm. Offensively, we only had one turnover. I think to me, if there was a statistic anomaly, that allowed us to win that game was offensively in the second half. We really took care of the basketball. But outside of that, it was all about the defensive effort and our ability to make them take tough shots and get stops when we needed to.
Was it all there were a lot of deflections, guys getting their hands in and just disruptive
diving on
behavior.
loose ball, diving on the floor for a loose ball and coming up with it type stuff. Just those are the things that have to be a constant. That shouldn't be and they dove on the floor for loose balls tonight. It was good for that should be every single night, every day in practice, and a mentality that again we haven't had, but we had it Saturday night, and it allowed us to beat a really good team.
I know I asked you about Lucas Seward
Yes.
for the game the other night. I think what impressed me the most about him wasn't the numbers in the two games last week, but some of the things they're talking about, going after loose balls, diving on the floor. Is he
Rebounding.
maybe rebounding, kind of mixing it up in the middle?
Absolutely.
Is he maybe figuring out that, hey, I can compete at this level?
I think so. Yeah, I really do. I think again, I'd mentioned we've seen that from Lucas really over the last 2 to 3 weeks of practice. We've seen it out on the practice floor. Now we're starting to see it on game night, which obviously is the most important part. Is when the lights come on. But it starts in practice, and it started for him a couple of weeks ago, and he's now translated it to games, and really proud of him. Oregon State, he had 5 rebounds in like 8 or 9 minutes, 4 of them on the offensive glass. So I'm really, really proud of what he's been able to do over the last 2 or 3 weeks.
You talked about that kind of practice attitude even the other night since Christmas, and yet since then he's had his first couple didn't play coaches' decisions.
Yeah.
Did he show you something in the Oregon State game that maybe made you more confident that he'd be able to kind of go out there Oregon and maybe going forward?
Yeah, and I think again, with the lineup change that I made in the Oregon State game, it wasn't about the guys that were starting. Now they took it that way, and maybe the fans took it that way. The way I looked at it is it gave Lucas Seward an opportunity to show what he can do when he's on the floor to start the game. What can Torrey Miller do when he's on the floor to start the game? What can Thomas Akiazili do? Thomas had 6 assists and no turnovers against Oregon State. What can, Bryce Peters hadn't started yet. Bryce Peters has, 15 points against Oregon State. So it was about the guys that were on the bench that hadn't had an opportunity to start. It wasn't about the guys starting, getting relegated to the bench. So you talk about Lucas, you talk about Bryce, you talk about Torrey, you talk about Thomas, really important players to us. They were important on Saturday night against Oregon, just like they were important against Thursday against Oregon State. And so it really doesn't matter if they start or if they come off the bench. We just need great, positive, tough play from everybody in our lineup.
You were talking about, kind of unnoticed contributions. Josh Fortune had 2 really nice games in a row. I think he had 6 or 7 points, 5 or 6 rebounds, 5 or 6 assists, and 1 turnover there. Is that another guy that's...
Another guy that again, not many people are talking about, that gave us great minutes the last 2 games. And so just another example of a guy, again, who had started the first 16 games, and now he's coming off the bench, but he's handled it like a pro. Hasn't pouted. It hasn't been easy for him, but he's handled it really well, and he's given us good minutes. So that's the beauty of this team is we've got a lot of capable guys, but we got to bring it every night. And not that everybody's going to play great every night, but they're mentally and physically and emotionally, they got to be ready to play.
One more thing, just the other night, it looked, and I'm not saying this is a selfish team by any stretch, but is that as unselfish as you've seen them on offense? I mean, Wesley with 4 assists, I think
Yeah.
he had 8 different guys with at least 1 assist.
Yeah, and then Thursday against Oregon State, we had 18 assists and 7 turnovers. So yeah, I think unselfishness on offense usually has not been a problem for the most part. Sometimes the ball gets a little sticky occasionally, but in terms of passing the ball and making plays for others, this is not a selfish group. Where selfishness rears its ugly head is on the defensive end. And nobody thinks about it. Everybody talks about selfishness and unselfishness on the offensive side. Defense is where it's at. That's when you got to be a help side defender. You got to be in the gap. You got to be ready to help your teammates. Your teammate goes to help another teammate. You got to help him. I mean, that's where unselfishness really happens or doesn't happen.
Now, Coach, you had Deshaun Schwartz in the house on Saturday night.
Yep.
Was it nice to have him there to see, that game?
Yeah, I wish Tyler and Evan could have been here. Evan was here for the USC-UCLA weekend, unfortunately, but yeah, it was great to have Deshaun. He saw the atmosphere, he saw the way we won, and the joy and the happiness in the locker room afterwards. He felt, I think he was as happy and as excited as our players were. So that's a good sign. I think anytime you can get your recruits who've signed with you and they've bought into the program, obviously, it was nice to have him so we can get a little taste of that to see hopefully what is down the road for him.
Not to get into the minutia of it too